Thank you for wanting to contribute to Isopod Keeping Simulator. I'm going to go through just the things you need to know to be able to contribute to the project real quick. And just a quick heads up, this is the first project we're doing, so it's going to be maybe a little bit janky at times. We're still figuring out how to do all of this stuff, so there might be some bumps on the road. So first of all, the first step you need to do if you want to contribute is just let me know what you already know and what you want to know, like what you want to learn here. And hopefully I can then kind of intuit, think of some things you could do that would improve the project and therefore make more money for charity and stuff. So a big one, I'm looking for all 3D modelers at the moment, so a lot of content is geared towards that. So a thing I need a lot of models for is the enclosures of the isopods. So if you don't know what the game is basically, if you know Ant Keeping Simulator, it's that, but with isopods, that's basically the entire game. It's just you have pet isopods. Isopods are like little pill bugs, and that's the game. It's pretty simple because I wanted a smaller project for this on the first time that we're doing this. I've already done quite a lot of work on the project, so there are some stuff. There is some stuff that's already made in there. So you'll need to take into account some stuff if you're modeling an enclosure, which is something that'll need quite a bit of. So that's what we're gonna go into now. How do you go through that process? I'll just show you my workflow. So here we have an enclosure. This is a plastic tub, so you can see here it's kind of boring looking because this isn't textured or materialed at all in Blender. In Blender, you just need to UV unwrap things. I just auto UV unwrap, and that tends to work fine. So as you can see, the UVs of this thing here are just they're a mess, but I don't care because this just gets a transparent material on it, so it doesn't really matter that the UVs aren't the cleanest thing. Like glass material, I could show you actually real quick. There you go. This glass material is still work in progress because it doesn't really look plasticky at the moment, but it's gonna look something like this when it's done. So you just model the thing. It's about 1/110 scale. So everything is about a centimeter is going to be about, or 10 centimeters is going to be about a meter, I think. It's not exactly accurate, but I can just scale it up and down. If after you send in a model, I can just scale it how I need it for the actual Unity project, which isn't going to be public yet, probably. So some other things to look out for when modeling an enclosure is you're going to want to keep it pretty. You're going to want to add some dirt of some sorts. So I have this dirt layer here. It's basically just a mesh. And then of that material, of that object you use to make the dirt, you're going to want to take a layer. So here we have, let me just isolate this here. So here you have one chunk of navigation. So I need a navigation mesh for our isopods to walk on. And I do that in this game by cutting it up into lots of little chunks. That's for reasons that have to do with being able to pick up parts of the mesh. So you won't be able to pick up this, but you will be able to pick up other things like leaves or a bit of bark, and then you can see the isopods running around all of that and stuff. Which seems important to this because they tend to hide underneath things, and otherwise it's kind of lame. So my point is here, all the navigation should be cut up into chunks. If you don't want to do that, I can do it by the time I actually get your model. So that's no big deal if you don't want to do that, or you can't figure out how to do it. I can just do that, and I could even show you how I do that. It's a pretty simple process. Basically, I just select a set of say I wanted to split this up into 2 more chunks. Press P, selection, and then it's separated off. So that's all I do. Make sure all the navigation sections are smooth shaded because that's something that's important for the normals of the mesh because I use those in the navigation system. So just go over here into Object and then Shade Smooth. And there shouldn't be any auto smoothing on it because that breaks the navigation. The navigation will end up being transparent, so there won't actually be a mesh on it. So you'll want a separate dirt mesh and a separate navigation mesh because the navigation meshes will be hidden essentially. You can add a lid. I'm gonna add a system where you can auto remove the lid as you get close to an enclosure. So that's something you can do if you want to, if it fits the enclosure you're making. And if you want to know what enclosure you should make, just ask me and I might, or if you have any ideas, just ask me, would this be cool? And then I will probably say yes, might say no. And I might just have a list somewhere of enclosures I think would be nice to add to the game. So you can just pick from there and that would also work. So after you've made one, you can just send it to me on Discord and then I'll add it to the game. And then we will have added an enclosure, which is really nice. Thank you so much if you have done that. Thank you so much. You're actually saving lives here, so that's awesome. And well, probably not lives because this game isn't going to make quite enough money to save a whole life. Probably it's going to be half to one life, maybe one life if we do well. Because a life costs about $5,000, and I'm hoping to make about $3,000 to $5,000 off of this project. So yeah. But you will be contributing to the size of the project because people will see that this game is made for charity and it will grow. So maybe you will save a life by that one little contribution. So it'd be awesome. By like the snowball effect you create. And all right. So basically, send me the model on Discord. It should be small enough to be able to send it just over Discord without Nitro or anything. If it's not, I'd like to know why, because Blender files aren't that big and I don't want to get a virus. So maybe just like send it on Google Drive, and then Google Drive scans things for viruses. So that should be safe. Just send me the Blender file and that should be enough. If you want any specific textures or that like fits that asset, I'd like the link to the texture where you got it or the texture itself with knowing where you got it. So basically, I don't want you to just say, oh yeah, I got this texture, because it's important for me to know that the textures are all like permitted to be used for the project. I don't want to get into any copyright issues with this because I'm not making money off of it, so it's going to be very hard to pay those legal fees. So yeah, I don't want any copyright issues, so just use textures you're actually allowed to use. Don't just pluck something off of Google Images. That's not what we want here. If you're looking to learn programming, that's the final thing here, just let me know and I'll see what I can do. I might add the project to GitHub so you can actually like do a pull request and stuff. Not sure about the process yet, so I'll have to ask another open source Unity project like, hey, how do you guys do this? And we won't actually be open sourced because you can't just like, there needs to be something in the license of like, you can't build this, or I'll have to do something so you can't build the project and pilot it that way. I'm not sure if that'll be necessary because you're stealing from charity, and that seems kind of lower than low for most people, so I don't think that'll be a big problem of having people like pirate it by making a build in Unity. It's also a massive pain, so I think people will just buy it. But we'll have to see about that. How I'm gonna do that specifically. Maybe I'll only put the C# files on there. So essentially what I'm trying to say here is, if you're looking to learn programming, I'll figure something out for that, but we're looking mainly for modelers at the moment. But yeah, that's mostly it here. That's all I need to cover. Yes, so hopefully you enjoyed this guide. I guess this isn't really an enjoyable video, this is more of a technical video, but hopefully you can now start working on the project, and it'll be awesome if you do help me out. So thank you so much, and I'll see you in probably the next video you can watch, maybe. Goodbye.